Hello students, and welcome to the online lecture series. Myself Dr. S.R. Patil. I am assistant professor in chemistry working at the S.V.K.T. Arts, Science and Commerce College, Deolali camp. Dear students, today's session is for the TYBSc students. As you know, from this year, the Savitribai Phule Pune University started choice-based credit system pattern at the TYBSc level. In this CBCS pattern, at the TYBSc chemistry level, there are 8 subjects. In that, there is one subject, medicinal chemistry. The name of the subject is Introduction to the Medicinal Chemistry. Now, in today's session, we started with the first chapter, and name of the chapter is An Introduction to Drugs, Their Action and Immunobiologicals. Okay. The subject name is Introduction to Medicinal Chemistry, and the chapter name for the today's session is An Introduction to Drugs, Their Action and Immunobiologicals. So, today's session agenda is, first we discuss the introductory part about the drugs, that is the introduction of drugs. Then next point in today's session, we will discuss need of drug, that is the new drug. What is the need of new drug? Next point in today's session we covered is the drug resistance. Then further point of today's session is improvement in properties of existing drugs. Also, we discuss on the identification of new diseases, and the last point of today's session we will discuss is the historical background of drug discovery and design. So, the learning objectives of today's session is, after this today's session, all the students shall be able to understand the basic of medicinal chemistry, biophysical properties, and students are also able to overview of basic concepts of traditional system of medicine, along with the overview of the overall process of drug discovery, drug design, and the role played by the medicinal chemistry in all this process of drug designing and drug development. Okay, these are some learning objectives of the today's session. So, we start with the first point, introduction to drugs. Before starting the introduction to drugs, we take the definition of medicinal chemistry. We know that medicinal chemistry is the branch of chemistry which deals with the design, discovery, synthesis and the development of new compounds, okay, which can show desirable biological effects on the human body. Okay. This is the medicinal chemistry, the basic definition of medicinal chemistry. We know that the compounds capable of showing desirable pharmacological effects in case of diseases or discomforts are called as drugs. Okay. We use the drug molecule for the preparation of different medicines, and this is the definition of drug. What is meant by drug? The compounds capable of showing desirable pharmacological effects in case of diseases or discomfort are called as drugs. We know that when we think about the global market or the global pharmaceutical market, the global pharmaceutical market is around 1.25 trillion US dollars. Okay, this is globally. But when we think at the national level for our country, many Indian pharmaceutical companies are also performing very good. And the job opportunities in this sector look stronger because there is a very demanded field. Okay, medicinal chemistry or pharmaceutical sector is a very big sector. There are also different challenges in front of this sector. In that, in the field of drug development, and trained chemist will be always in demand in this sector. There is a lot of work, lot of challenges in this sector, pharmaceutical sector, and for the good result, for the development of new drug molecules, there is a need of trained chemist. Okay, and this need is always in demand. So currently we know that the COVID-19 pandemic has shifted the focus on the world towards the pharmaceutical sector, and the investment in companies working on new immunological or immunobiological have increased. Due to this COVID-19 pandemic, the more investment in companies are working on the new immunobiologicals. So a drug molecule is a biological active compound. This shows the biological activities. Okay. A drug molecule has been developed through an established system of experiments involving inputs from the different branches like chemistry, biochemistry, biology, pharmacology, then mathematics, computing, and the medicine. All these branches are involved in the development of new drug molecules. To understand and improve its pharmacological effects, all these branches are engaged. The drug molecule is expected to have a good therapeutical activity, a minimum toxicity and side effects. It should be get easily metabolized to avoid the accumulation in the body. For that, sophisticated scientific methodologies are involved to achieve all these properties in a drug molecules. Next point is need of new drugs. Why new drug is needed? We know that the new drug molecules are searches or prepared in the different pharmaceutical industries, and every pharmaceutical industry having a research and development unit, okay, which is called as R&D unit. In this R&D unit, the team of organic chemist, analytical chemist, and the pharmacist are continuously working for the development and searching of new drug molecules. So, the development of new drug molecule with all desirable properties of a good drugs are searching in the research and development unit of every pharmaceutical industry. The drugs are developed with a lot of efforts and experimentation. There is a different type of experiment on trial and error basis, but the requirement for new and better drugs never ceased to exist, and the new drugs are always in demand for many reasons. Okay, we see all these reasons one by one. In that, first reasons like overcoming the development of drugs, resistance to the existing drugs. Another reason is that to increase their efficiency and decreases their side effects. This is most important reason among the different reasons. And one important reason is that to fight against the newly identified diseases. Okay, the best example is COVID-19. This is a new disease, and for the fight against many new diseases, we required a different type of new drugs. So this is the different reasons we required new drug molecules. Next important point is the drug resistance. What is meant by drug resistance? We know that resistance. So the drug resistance is the infectious diseases caused by the microorganisms, cancers, and other medical conditions can be stopped responding to a given drug treatment. Okay, and this phenomenon is called as a drug resistance. Okay, once again I repeat the definition of drug resistance. The different infectious diseases which is caused by the microorganisms, then the cancer disease and other different medical conditions can stop the responding to a given drug treatment, and this phenomenon is called as a drug resistance. So the development of drug resistance is a complex phenomenon which can be triggered by the many reasons. Okay, and in that, overuse of drugs is the most widely acknowledged fact for the development of the drug resistance. It is a known fact that the enzyme produced by liver metabolize drug molecules, break down them into a water soluble fragments so that they can be removed by the body through the excretory system, and this is a mechanism which protects the body from the toxic effects of drugs by avoiding accumulation. However, respective use of a drug molecule leads to overproduction of enzyme in the host, and their high concentrations leads to breaking of drug molecules before they show their pharmaceutical effect. Therefore, the drugs are made ineffective with the help of enzymes, and such a instance have been noticed in case of a barbiturate class of drugs. This is an example of such a type of instance, barbiturate class of drugs, and these are used for the treatment of anxiety, isomania. On the other hand, the microorganisms use their ability to mutate and change their constituent enzymes to make the drug ineffective. We well known the mutation. Okay, in the COVID-19, the virus mutate itself and change their constituent enzymes to make the drug ineffective. So this type of resistance which is widely noticed in case of infectious diseases. For example, tuberculosis, HIV and malaria. Okay, the drug resistance of HIV-1 reverse transcriptance to nevirapines through the point mutation is one such example of such a type of resistance. Further, in various type of cancer diseases, development of drug resistance has been widely reported. Therefore, to overcome the drug resistance and for the successful treatment, the new drug molecule is highly desirable. The new drug molecule is highly demanded. This is about the drug resistance concept. There is another important point, is the improvement in properties of existing drugs. We have to need to improve the properties of existing drugs to overcome this problem. We know that the modifications in the existing drugs or the pharmaceutically active natural products may be needed to prepare a new drug molecule in order to increase their solubility, bioavailability, selectivity, or decreases their toxicity and side effect. Many drugs having this type of property, and we have to improve such a type of properties in a new drug molecule like solubility, bioavailability, selectivity, or we have to work for the decreases their toxicity and side effects. The second generation of antihistamines like cetirizines and estomazole were produced to overcome the side effects caused by the first generation of antihistamines like the bromophenyramines and chlorpheniramines. Okay, these are the examples. The first generation antihistamines required multiple doses and they caused dry mouth and more importantly sedation because they could penetrate the blood-brain barrier. Okay, this is the example of first generation antihistamine. These are the structures of some drug molecules. For example, first structure shows is the bromophenyramines, second structure for the cetirizine, and the third structure is the estomazole drugs. We know that the cocaine is well known illegal drug with a very good activity as a local anesthetic agent. This is used as an anesthetic agent. It is allowed to be used by medical professional to provide relief from pain in case of a surgical procedures. However, it is known to be misused for the recreation purpose. Okay, what is meant by recreation? In that the cocaine increases dopamine level in brain on consumption and the person experiences higher level of mental alertness, happiness and energy. Okay, so it is very addictive and causes other damages to heart like construction of blood vessels. Okay, this is the adverse effect of cocaine. Then another adverse effect is the restlessness and the elevated blood pressure and body temperature. Therefore, the new molecules like procaine and the tetracaine are inspired from the cocaine. New molecules like procaine and tetracaine which are inspired from the cocaine. And these molecules are used as well-known local anesthetic agents, procaine and tetracaine. And these molecules are used without the cardiovascular toxicity and other side effect of cocaine. Okay, this is the structure of cocaine molecule along with the procaine and tetracaine which is used as a local anesthetic agents. So, next important point of today's session is the identification of new diseases. Why there is a need of identification of new diseases? We know that new drugs are needed in case of identification of new diseases. When the existing drugs molecules are failed to provide a complete solution to the problem, we have to need of identification of new diseases. And however, the new drugs are designed on the basis of identification of target molecules, and screening of existing drugs helps to find the lead molecules, which is turns are used to develop a new drug molecules. Okay, new lead molecules are used to prepare to develop a new drug molecule. So, in the recent time, the COVID-19 pandemic outbreak underline the importance of drug designing and development. Although in the pandemic COVID-19, the remdesivir, lopinavir and ritonavir have been recommended for the treatment of the COVID-19. This particular infectious diseases requires a new drug molecule with a desirable pharmacological or pharmaceutical effects, and also the development of safe vaccines to stop the spread of COVID-19 and to take care of its different variants which are appearing in many countries. So, this is the structure of remdesivir which is used in the treatment of COVID-19. Okay, this is well familiar name to everyone during the pandemic of COVID-19, remdesivir. Okay, this is a complex structure of these remdesivir which is used on the treatment of COVID-19. Next important point is the historical background of drug discovery and drug design. Okay, we know that the different experiment in a discovery of new drugs in early part of 19th century were limited to individual efforts, but these efforts became more organized and scientific in their approach. So, the collaborative research from various fields like chemistry, microbiology, biochemistry, pharmacology, toxicology, psychology, pathology, statistics and the computer science all are accelerated the process of drug discovery with greater outputs. Next important point about the natural products as a drug. Dear student, we know that nature has been the first and the most important source of medicines in earlier times. Different natural products from animals, vegetables and minerals were used in ancient times to treat the various ailments. However, the knowledge about efficacy and toxicity of these products was not widely known until the invention of printing technology in 15th century. This printing technology made the dissipations of information about natural products in the form of herbals and the pharmacopoeia. Therefore, the knowledge about the natural products helped practitioners to identify useful natural products with the lowest toxicity and lowest side effect. And the screening leads to a removal of those natural products which shows adverse side effect and toxicity. This rational process improved with respect to time. Okay, we know that every process is modified along with the time, and this process, isolation of natural product, is also improved along with the time, and correct data about a large number of natural products are available. A large number of drugs are obtained from natural sources and they have been found to be very effective against many diseases because they are improved or they are isolated from the natural product. As per the article published, this is a reference for that. The article which is published in a Drug Discovery Today. The volume number of that article is 21 and issued number is 2 and it is published at the date of February 2016. Okay, antibacterial natural products approved by FDA, including the 51% products obtained from bacteria, 46% from the fungi and 3% from plants. Okay, this information is collected from the article which is published in a Drug Discovery Today. The volume number and issue number are given here. Next important point regarding the discovery or development of new drug molecules, that is the lead compounds and analogues. What is mean by the lead compounds? Okay, before we see the definition of lead compound, we discuss some basic part in that the advancement in chemistry opened the floodgates in the process of drug development because the identification of pharmaceutically active compounds, their structures and properties added a new dimensions in medicinal chemistry. Okay, so the lead compound is that the pharmaceutically active compound isolated from natural products, which is called as a lead compound. This is a simple definition and in examination this definition is asked for 1 mark. The pharmaceutically active compound isolated from the natural product were called as a lead compounds. Okay, and they were used as a starting point for the development of new drugs. Okay, the drug compounds were used to synthesize the new molecules which were named as analogues. Okay, this is also one of the definition, analogues. The lead compounds were used to synthesize a new molecule which is named as analogues. This is the lead compound and analogues. So, in the summary, in the today's session, we have discussed some introductory part about the drug. Then we discuss need of drug, that is the need of new drug molecule, and we also discuss about the historical background of drug discovery and the drug design. So, dear student, on the basis of this session, there is a session assignment for you. In that, we have to solve first question, what is the medicinal chemistry? You have to write down the definition of medicinal chemistry. Then second question, we have to define drug. Third question is that what are lead compounds? Okay. Then next question is a write note on drug resistance. And the last question in the assignment is that explain the need for the development of new drugs. You have to solve all these questions and send me on the Google Classroom for the TYBSc student. Dear student, in our next lecture, we will continue this topic, and in the next session, we will discuss about the sources of drugs and the classification of drugs. There are many sources of drug molecule. From that, the drug molecule is synthesized or prepared. And along with the sources of drugs, we will also discuss the brief classification of drugs. Therefore, this is the today's session. Thank you very much.